Part 2, Chapter 16. I awoke to a terrible spasmodic shaking, but it wasn't coming from within me now, and somehow, though I couldn't understand this at all, I wasn't in my bedroom anymore. All around me was darkness, cold, a sense of hurtling movement. And what was that noise? Disoriented, I pushed myself up to sitting, and I realized that what I heard was the pounding of hooves, the chuffing exhale of straining horses. I was in a carriage. But the last thing I remember, wasn't it dying? A particularly rough jolt flung me off the cushioned bench and slammed me against the carriage door. "Pieter," I called to the driver, "where are you taking me? Slow down." But either he ignored me, or he couldn't hear my words over the rattling din. The carriage careened on its way, each rut in the road, jarring me out of my seat and punctuating my unspoken questions. Why was he whipping the horses like this? How long had we been traveling? Where were we going in such a hurry? To another doctor who might cure me of the seep? I pushed back the curtain and a blast of wind rushed in. Another terrible jolt launched me into the air. When I landed back on the bench, I bit my tongue and warm metallic blood filled my mouth. I spat it out onto the carriage floor and still the horses galloped on. The carriage shook so wildly I feared the whole thing might fly apart. We took a sharp curve to the right and then the whippingly fast turn to the left. There was nothing I could do but hold on and try not to scream. Then over the din of pounding hoofs came the low, ominous notes I'd heard just once before. They rolled through the night like thunder, clanging on and on until I felt them echoing in my very bones. The bells of death. My breath caught. I clutched my heart. I knew exactly what was happening. Those hateful bells were tolling for me. I knew without question that I was dead, and that my body was being raced to its grave. Whatever this moment of consciousness was, this last spark of life before eternal oblivion, I understood that it was both mysterious and brief. And when it was over, all would be nothingness forever. The thought overwhelmed me and I began to weep. How could I leave the world behind? How could my story end so soon? I was granted a life of wealth and privilege, but I'd done nothing of consequence in my 17 years. In fact, in a sense, and my own father had died because of my foolishness, and now I'd never have the chance to redeem myself. Again I was flung from side to side as the carriage continued its berserk journey. I dug my nails into the cushions, but I couldn't hold on tight enough as we swerved back and forth. I braved the wind and wailed like a voice and peered out the open window. I could see a narrow, unfamiliar road twisting forward into the darkness. To the left, cliffs rose towards the sky, and to the right, the ground fell away into a deep crevasse. Ahead of us, the road veered sharply. I knew we were going too fast. There was no way we could make that turn. I found my voice and yelled again for Pieter to slow down. And by some miracle we did. The drumbeat of hooves grew quieter and the carriage steadied. I was trembling head to toe, but before I could even catch my breath, the horses surged forward again. We bore down on the curve at a full gallop. We were going to go over the edge. It was too late. Panic seized my heart, and I closed my eyes and prayed. I felt the final lurch as the carriage left the road and took to the air. So this is how it would all end. Instead of a plunge to the ground, there was nothing.